Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be focusing on the bigger muscle groups. So we're going to be focusing on the hamstrings and the quads and really trying to lengthen them out as much as we can. And then with that as well, we're going to be getting into the hip complex and then see where the connective tissue lies in between the quads and the hamstrings and try and release everything connected to those complexes within an hour. So what we're going to start with today is finding our space, just to lay down either completely flat on the ground. Otherwise you may want to place the foam roller or the bolster behind your glutes and back and come into a waterfall. So take your time to find your transition. Placing the block, the bolster or the foam roller underneath the legs, that's what you need. Bringing the eyes to a close. And all I want you guys to do from here is breathe. Start to notice if your breath is more right at the top of the traps, right into the neck and the ears. Notice if it feels quite heavy there, or if you're able to control the pressure of your breath through your diaphragm. If you can't seem to find the peace and the energy to breathe through the diaphragm, try placing both hands either side of the rib cage or one hand on the chest, one on the diaphragm, whichever you prefer. And as you take a deep breath in, I want you to expand through that rib cage. Breathing out. Focusing on grabbing the deepest breath you can through that diaphragm and then taking a deep breath out through the mouth. Start to roll the ankles around, one at a time. Start to see how they're feeling. You might want to point the toes all the way to the ceiling and then point them back towards you. And just start to move through the legs, cycling them through. Seeing how they feel this morning. You might want to check on the adductors and see if any of this tension is referring elsewhere in the body. Keeping the bolster or the foam roller or the block underneath your glutes and lower back. So for those that aren't there, take the next 10 to 15 seconds to place either bolster, block or foam roller underneath your lower back and glutes, depending what's more comfortable for you. Alrighty. Now that I'm hoping everybody is in a waterfall, we're going to place the right knee into the chest and draw that left leg down. I want you to squeeze your left glute and I want you to pull the right knee into the chest. And as you squeeze that left glute, I want you to note if the top of your hip flexor or if your inner groin feels tight in any way. But also notice the more that you squeeze the glute to release the hip, the more that your leg drops closer and closer to the ground. Slowly switching sides. Stabilize the foam roller if need. Draw the left knee into the chest. Extend the right leg, squeezing that right glute. And notice as well if there's a difference between that left and right side. Switching sides again, nice and controlled. Reset the lower back if you need to. Drawing the right knee into the chest, left leg to the ground, squeezing that left glute. Notice if you can get lower when you extend that left leg than you could before. Keeping that glute squeezed as you go through. And see if the hip is start to ease off at all. And if anything else around that complex might feel a bit tight. And slowly switching to the other side. Left knee into the chest, right leg extends. Really squeezing through that right glute. And again, noticing if there's a difference or if that leg can now drop to the ground. We generally wake up in the morning with tight hip flexors. So it's normal for them to feel a bit tight in the mornings. So this is something good to get them moving. Beautiful. We're going to draw both knees into the chest. Hug them in nice and tight. Or extend them in the air, whatever you'd like to do. Slowly start to rock from side to side. And slowly make your way to seated, however you'd like to do that. Alrighty, so if you've all made your way to seated now, we're going to slowly come onto all fours. If you need to place a pillow underneath the knees at all, just to take any pressure off them, you're welcome to do so as well. Alright, slowly wake up this morning. We're going to slowly move through the torso. Taking a deep breath in, extending the body all the way up. Breathing out. As you come up, you may want to change the breathing pattern depending on what you need for you. Extending as far up as you can, tucking that chin. Coming all the way back up. You might want to move from side to side with the spine. Beautiful, do whatever you need. From here, we're going to take our left leg and we're going to take it behind us and place it on the ground. And from here, we're going to sit back into that left leg. Sorry, we're sitting back into the right leg. The left leg is behind us. So we're stretching through the right glute and the left calf. Then we're going to come out with that left leg and we're going to sit back. So moving through that adductor. Really try and point the toes forward, right through. If this is too much, you may sit up or stay here. And we're going to go back with the same leg, reaching that leg back and sitting through through that right glute. You may want to stay still or pulse through that back calf. Coming back around to the adductor again, sitting back, hands back, pacing the toes forward again, and see if you can go any further back than you could before, and then see if you can come as close as you can to ground than you did before. Again, you're still welcome to stay here in tabletop. One more. We're coming all the way across, extending through that glute. Working on really squeezing through that right glute. One last time on this side. Draw the leg out and sit back. Beautiful. Slowly switching sides. So give you guys a moment to make your way back to all fours. Once we've done that, we're going to draw the right leg through and behind. Squeeze through that left glute and pulse through that right leg. You may decide to stay static, which is also fine. Or you can put some pressure into that right calf. Coming out into adductor stretch, drawing that leg out to the side, toes facing forward. You can either stay up on all fours, you can sit up here, otherwise come back into it, whatever you prefer to do. Slowly coming back, taking your time to move the leg around, come through, and focusing on squeezing through that left glute. If you need a deeper stretch, just keep moving the leg around a little bit further. Should really be feeling through the outside of the glute. Coming back into the adductor, seeing if you can get any deeper than you could the first time. Slowly making your way back up. Last transition on this side. Stay as static or pulse if you like to, whatever makes you better. And slowly coming back into that adductor stretch. Reaching the hip back, toes facing forward. See if you can get deeper than before, if you can. Beautiful. Slowly coming to a seat. Take your time to get there. Alright, so we're going to grab onto our strap and work through our hamstrings. You're welcome to place the block, or the bolster, or the foam roller behind your head if that's something that you wish to do. So I'm going to go all the way back. I'm going to grab onto my strap, keep it at the furthest extension as it is, so it's the longest it can be. You're going to place your foot into the strap. Slowly placing it behind your head, allowing yourself to have a bit of room to really extend through that leg, and then just breathing through. Just seeing how that feels. Like I said, if you have neck and shoulder issues, you're welcome to grab a block, bolster or foam roller to place behind your head during this if you'd rather not focus on that, which is completely fine. It is purely hamstrings, calves and adductors depending which way you're stretching. So if you want to go deep into the stretch, that's fine. Otherwise, stay here and let's wake up these hamstrings, calves or adductors, whichever ones you're focusing on this morning. You know when to stay as static as you like. Otherwise, you might want to bend the knee, pulsing through the foot, and even moving the strap more towards the toes to stretch out more behind the knee and into the calf as well. Stay as static as you like again, otherwise move through that ankle. We'll take the strap off and move through the adductors. And tighten whenever you need to make it a little bit harder on yourself if the stretch is needed. Slowly taking your time to unravel and slowly taking the time to switch sides. If you did tighten your strap, make sure you loosen it back to the very part of extension when going into the next side. And you can tighten throughout the stretch. So we always start at about 50-60% and then work our way through up to 90. Once you guys are there, find your focus. Is it through the calves, the back of the knee, hamstrings, or is it through the adductors? Now I want you guys to notice if there's significant difference between that left and right side. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other in any way, shape or form. Notice at all if you can't rotate the foot as much as you could on the other side. Your hamstrings are your knee protectors, so they're super important to lengthen and to strengthen. So we'll do the lengthen part now, and then we'll strengthen through the strength class later on today. really taking the time to slowly unravel all the way down, taking the strap off. You may want to draw the knees into the chest. You may just want to lay here. Just take a few stretches if you need to before coming up to seated. Alrighty, so next what we're going to work through is going to be the outside of our thigh, the outside of our quad. So we're going to be working through the entire muscle group here. So you've got your TFL that sits up high, which we do a lot of ball release with. Then as you come down, you've got your IT band that just sits across here, touches the hip and the knee. And then you've got your lateral quad that sort of just sits slightly more inside, so it's not directly here, it's more inside. So it's very important to release those muscle groups because the tighter that they get, the more they can pull at the knee and also pull at the hip. So if you're getting any outer knee pain or any hip pain on the outside as well, it's a good idea to release through these muscle groups to see if there's anything going on. So we're going to use our foam roller for this today. You can use a ball as well, so I will show you both, but it is more beneficial to use the foam roller. You'll get a bit more out of it, especially for the bigger muscle groups like that outside of your quad. We will individually get into TFL with the ball as well, but for now we're going to use the roller. So we're going to come into our side. We're going to start with whichever side you'd like to. I always start with my right. So what you're going to do here is you're going to straighten out that right leg and you're going to bring the left leg over to the front like this. Alright, or the opposite, straighten the left leg, bring the right leg over. Whatever you like to do. So you're going to start right at that hip. And to start with, we're just going to roll at the hip. So just nice little strides just at that top of the hip. Now you can move that arm and go a bit higher at the hip if that's something you'd like to do. So just spend the time here. You may want to roll back a little bit. You may want to roll forward a little bit onto the hip. Now from here, we're going to move our arms up. And you can either keep that leg on the ground and roll through your lateral quad and IT band. Otherwise, bring that leg up. You can go on both hands and start to roll on the side. As much as you can. You might find you've got more stability and control as soon as you put that leg down. So you can keep creeping that leg up and down with the hand. I know that this is painful, so please take your time and be patient with yourself. It doesn't get better overnight, but the more regularly you do this, it will get easier. I do promise you that much. So just keep rolling through that side, and any part that hurts, stop and flex and extend that leg. Whew. I'm very, very sore there. And then you want to start to go towards the bottom of the knee. So you might just want to hang there. Sorry, trying to find a comfy position for my arm. You can go onto your hand. You just might find there's less pressure on the foam roll. So right near the knee, pull the shoulder blades back. Might not seem like something you need to focus on, but as soon as you pull those shoulders back, it'll help. And then work your way back down and slowly roll off. Take your time. You might have fallen off a few times then, which is perfectly fine as well. All right, so we're going to now work onto the other side. So, just made my mat very dirty with the dirty roll. So you're going to start at that hip again, and you're just going to have that, well, for me it's my left leg, might be your right leg, straight, and the other leg over. And you're just trying to focus on rolling on that particular spot on that hip. Notice already if there's a difference between the left and right side. It usually all starts at either the hip or all starts at the knee. So if you don't notice anything up here, I'm sure you will towards the knee. You might want to go forward and back. And if this isn't enough for you, stay there. Otherwise, slowly creep your way up towards that lateral quad. I'm rolling all the way through. And again, if there's any spot that hurts, stop, flex and extend at the leg if you can. It's not the nicest feeling in the world. You may place both hands down if that's easier for you. Just keep rolling all the way through. Notice if there's a difference between either side. Again, you're welcome just to go back to that hip if that's easier for you. Now we're going to work towards that knee. So, either on your forearm or your hands, and we're just going to roll that roller more towards the knee, hovering in that spot where you can, breathing through, same way we would with our diaphragmatic breaths, and slowly unravel. Take your time. Finish off the side, we're going to grab our ball, so lacrosse or tennis ball, laying on our side. We're going to find that hip bone, ball goes out to the side of that hip bone, and we're going to slowly roll onto that side. We're going to nice and slowly rock from side to side on it. Otherwise, stay exactly where you are. Working through that outer hip. So the TFL can get quite tight with a lot of sitting. So any movement that your legs in a lot of flexion instead of extension is where the hip will get nice and tight. So it's important to release your hips, especially if you're sitting a lot for your job, or if you've just done a lot of squats, a lot of running, anything that has a lot of hip flexion. Notice if there's any referred pain going in any spot. Could be going down towards the knee, could just be in the glute. Start to focus on those areas. And just notice if there's anything going anywhere. You might want to move the knee or the foot or the ankle to notice if there's any movement. Or move your body from side to side a little bit as well. Slowly rolling over a little bit further back, same length, but just moving back with the ball more towards the glute. So you're heading more towards glute med. And notice if that feels any tighter than your TFL does, and if that's referring to any spots. You may want to rock from side to side on this point, if that's what feels good. Staying on your glute if that feels comfortable. Otherwise, move the ball back slowly towards that hip. And then moving down. So going down that glute. So you should really be, you were at that hip, you went a little bit further back, now you're going down a little bit. So we're just trying to go along that outside of the glute. Again, which all works in with those hips. If we can release through those glutes, especially through glute med, and start to activate and strengthen that muscle, the TFL won't take over as much. So we're using your glutes for a lot of power instead of using TFL as much. It's still an important muscle group. We still need to learn how to strengthen the hips and use them, but we don't want our hips to be stronger than our glutes in particular movements. Again, you may want to move the knee with this one, otherwise just stay where we are and slowly keep rolling the ball down. So the ball should be right, so it's gone from here, and it's just gone to there. Doesn't feel like it might have gone that far, but it has a little bit. And then you're going to slowly come to a seat. Take your time. And we're going to place the ball at the bottom of the glute, top of the hamstring. We're going to extend the leg, rock it from side to side, even try moving the leg out. So sit up as tall as you can here. And just really work through moving through the hip and the leg to release underneath the glute and the hamstring. Moving the ball, hopefully that glute feels like it's sunk into the ground compared to the other one. Alrighty, back to the other side now. So we've done ITB and lateral quad on both sides. Now we're just going to get through TFL on this side of the glute. So finding that hip bone out to the side. Oh, the sun's starting to come through the clouds. And we're going to roll into that side on our TFL and start to rock from side to side on that ball. And notice if there's any referral in the glute, in the hip, any of the above. There could even be stuff going into the back or back down the leg. Could be different or the same as the other side. Again, you're welcome to move the leg, the foot, the knee to see if there's any difference at all. Keep clicking. Alrighty. So staying on the same line, you're just going to push the ball a little bit further back onto glute med. So staying along there, just moving through that that glute. And seeing if there's any difference on this side compared to the other, and if it's referring it all into the glute or down the leg. If that feels good, you can either go back towards the hip and towards TFL. Otherwise, move it a little bit further down on this side. If you need to reset yourself with the ball, that's fine as well. So it should be now, instead of at the hip, you're slightly down. And roll back on that side. Starting to see how the glute feels in comparison to the hip. And everyone is different depending on the side of their body that might feel tight. Slowly making your way up to a seat. We're going to place that ball underneath the glute, top of the hamstring. We're going to straighten that leg, start to rotate it. You might want to bring the leg out, bend it, whatever you feel works. Just try and keep yourself in a good posture to really put the pressure on top of that ball. Moving the ball and start to feel if that glute sunk into the ground as well. It's like you're sitting on pillows now instead of sitting on blocks. Alrighty, so we're going to grab the devil roller out again and we're going to work through the front of the quads. So what we've pretty much done so far, have a little recap. We've worked through the back of your legs, which is your hamstrings. Then from the back of the hamstrings, we've come out to the side. We've worked from the sides of the knee all the way up to TFL. Then we've worked the sides of the glutes as well. So we've come from TFL and we've gone out to the side and we've sort of come down the glute. So just that outside, and then we've sort of gone behind and under the glute into the sit bone area. So we're really trying to get into those gnarly muscles that can cause any sort of nigglies or issues around the knee or around the hip, sometimes even around the foot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work through the front of the quads. So with this, the way we're going to do this, we're going to place one leg predominantly on the roller. So we're going to start with your right leg. You're going to move the roller out to the side. So your right leg is just going to be on this part of the roller. So right leg will just be here. This will just be chill without anything on it. So you're going to place your right leg on top of the roller and you can bring your other leg out to the side like this. And you're just going to roll on that quad. So you're just completely in on that front of the quad on top of the roller. So you can stay here, right at the top of the hip to start with. So your quadricep is also one of your hip flexors, your major quadricep muscle, your rec fem. So this muscle can get quite tight. It can cause some hip flexor issues, not just tight quads. So that's where people can sometimes get confused. So it's important to start up high when releasing this muscle with the quad. Then we're going to place, if you can, one leg behind the other, working through the quad. Otherwise, keep that leg on the ground and just move a bit higher up with the roller. That's perfectly fine as well. Any part that hurts, stop and flex and extend through that leg. I know this is gross and gnarly and I do apologize in advance. You can come up into your hands to make it a bit easier for you. So again, working like that. Otherwise, leg on top of the other, pushing through. So So this is how we do one quad, and it's preferred so you can tell the difference between either side, because you're not always going to notice the difference if it's just working through both quads at the same time. So keep rolling through that quad, and again, if you need to stop, pause, drop that knee, go back to the hip. Otherwise, depending on what's sore, go towards the knee. And you can use that other leg to push that leg up. Sitting towards that knee now and just pulsing on that quad. You should be working on that right one. If you've gone left, it's fine. Slowly coming off. And we're going to switch to the other side. So, left leg is now going to come on top of the roller. It's only 10 degrees out here. I'm starting to get really warm. We're going to grab your leg on the roller. We're going to start at the knee this time. So, you can lay here and just flex and extend. That might be enough for you. Otherwise, bring that other leg out to the side. And we're just going to start by rolling near the knee, right at the bottom of the quads. You can come up onto your hands, flex and extend where it hurts. You don't want the muscle to get too tight around the knee either, because it can cause just as much pain throughout the knee. So sometimes you can go more medial, sometimes more lateral, but it's really good to get into the bottom of the quad to help release whatever is going on near the knee. So, back on that roller, you can place one leg behind the other, and rolling on that quad. You can place that leg down and roll through the quad that way. Sometimes it goes crooked, you just refix it. And when you can, start to go towards that hip, either on your hands or on your forearm. So it's another way to release your hip flexors as well without using the ball. Sometimes people find this a bit nicer. I said sometimes. Going towards that hip, staying at the hip now like you did before with that knee. Just hovering on that spot. Again, you can bring that leg on top of the other and still hover on that spot. Slowly coming up when you're ready. Just give yourself a minute just to sit. We're not done with this rolling yet, but we will be soon, I promise. Grab yourself some water if you'd like to as well. It is kind of like a workout. For some people this can be their workout for the day, and that's perfectly fine, because at least you're putting blood through the muscles, but in a way that they're still recovering, which is awesome. They don't always have to be active every single day, but the blood can still be flowing through them in a recovery way as well. Alrighty, so we're going to work through the adductors now with the foam roller again. So we've done pretty much each area of the quad, but this is really going to work through your BMO, so really working through that medial side of the quad and then also through the adductor. And I'm going to show you how you can differentiate the difference on the foam roller. So we're going to be with this one laying on our stomach. And you want to bring that leg out at about 90 degrees on top of the roller. So you end up being flat in your stomach, just slowly rolling onto your side, not completely on your side like you would with TFL and the ball under the hip, but more sort of kind of like a 45 degree. So you're not flat, you're not completely upright. So from here, I'm going to place the ball near the knee to start with. And I'm just going to get you to extend the leg. So just that outside of the knee is on the roller. Just flex and extend here. And if that feels okay, I just want you to start to roll through that adductor. Keep moving through from the knee all the way through. So the foot is flat, so it's sort of towards the ground. The way to get more VMO, so more of that medial quad instead of your adductors, you're going to lay down a bit more, bring your foot up to the side, and it's going to shoot to the sky, and then you're going to focus on VMO. You can come upright if you want to, but you're more likely to let that foot drop. Just control that foot being more towards the sky. And that works through VMO a little bit more than adductor. So that's how I'd work through that. And then to get more groin, you just move the foam roll a bit closer, and then you work towards the groin a bit more. You can put these toes down and come up, so you're completely in the air and when it comes to your legs. Otherwise, keep that leg on the ground and just foam roll like this. There's no right or wrong answer with this, it's just whatever feels good for you. Same thing as regular exercises. You regress and you progress depending on what you want to do and what your body needs from you right now. If your mind's scattered and you just don't feel like doing the progression, that's perfectly fine. Just take it easy, that's fine. Whatever works for you. Now you can come from a side lying, then go all the way down, come back up. So you go nice and quick onto it. Whatever you prefer to do. And then whatever spot hurts, same thing as around that knee before, hover on it, hold and flex and extend. Whatever you prefer to do. If you've had any sort of knee issues, I recommend staying near the knee and just rolling around that bottom part of the quad. If you've had any groin or hip issues, come up high. And we're going to slowly switch to the other side. Take your time. I'm getting all the cracks now, what's going on? So, we're going to place that knee back on the roller. And we're just going to focus on flexing and extending with that knee on the roller. So remember, if you want more VMO, place that foot to the sky and extend. Otherwise, drop the leg if you want more inside the adductor. And then come up if you want a little bit more pressure. Well, not even if you want a little bit more pressure. If you feel like you need a little bit more pressure and you're capable of it today, then you can do that. Notice if there's a difference between your left and right side. If your left is more sensitive than the right, if there's any referral going into any sort of region at all through the leg. If you're more adductor on one side and more VMO on the other side. Think about the training you've done. Think about if you've had any injuries to that side of the body as well. So remember, we're going to work right towards that hip. And really work all the way to that groin. And again, you can put your toes down with the other leg and come up with that knee. So you're just using your legs to float and you're on your hands for everything. You might want to reset the roller, that's fine as well. Just come back to whatever spot you need for you. Again, any part that hurts, flex and extend. slowly coming off that roller. Take your time. You may just want to lay there for a moment. That's perfectly fine. So you've really worked through those big muscles. So you've done sort of all around the knee from above. So you've really worked through the top of the quads, lateral and medial sides of the quads, and the hamstrings, which is awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of get underneath and behind the knee. So we're going to grab onto our block, and we're going to place a ball underneath, on top of the block, and then underneath the knee. And I want you just to move the leg from side to side and keep it floating. And then just flex and extend at the ankle. Might not get as many ankle cracks as I do, but really just starting to notice if there's any gnarly parts. And it might be just the top of the calf, or it might be more right under the knee. It could also be underneath the hamstring. So just starting to move through there. There's a muscle behind there called popliteus, which can get tight and gnarly as well. So if anything behind the knee gets tight, it could also pull from the front. So it's good to actually release behind the knee a bit, not just your hamstrings and your calves, because you could still be tight, I guess, around the other muscle groups that are still sitting behind that knee. So really try and grab yourself under the knee, see how it feels. If that feels okay, go a little bit lower and just work through that top of the calf. And really push down into it. And if it is too much, use a tennis ball. Just rotate through. I don't know why my ankle's so cracky. Sorry guys. And slowly switching legs. So same thing as before. Just going to roll underneath the knee. And if that feels good, go a bit lower to the top of the calf. Or even the bottom of the hamstring. Press down onto it and work through. Your knees are very important for anything to do with the ankle and then also to do with the hip. So if your hips and ankles aren't happy, your knee generally isn't happy either. And it also comes down to your lower back and your hip flexors as well. So if we can look after what's happening around the knees, we're going to have some pretty good hips and ankles too. They all align, they all connect, and you guys know that I say this on a regular basis. Working through that spot. Slowly moving the ball, slowly moving the block. I want you guys to come down back into a waterfall or just laying on your back for a few moments just before we finish class today. Just take your time, find your space, find what you need. You may want to place a block underneath your neck. That's fine as well. Just roll from side to side on. Otherwise, just lay there in peace. Whatever you prefer to do. slowly wiggling the toes, moving through them, one by one if you can. Moving the ankles, rolling them from side to side, wiggling through the fingers, strengthening, releasing any tension through them, and rotating the wrist as well. Reaching your hands above your head, coming through, slowly drawing both knees in, one at a time into the chest, and wiggling through the hip and knee. Switching the legs, just wiggling through that hip and knee. Both knees in, giving yourself a giant hug, slowly making your way to seated. You can open your eyes for this if you need to. Otherwise, sit there in peace. Roll the shoulders. Open your eyes. Thank you so much to all of you guys who watched this today. I hope that you guys learnt something new, got to learn a few different tools with the foam roller, or even got to use the foam roller again if you've just sort of had it hidden away for a little bit. Hopefully those big giant muscles in your legs feel nice and released with some blood running through them, and they recover really well for whatever is next or whatever you use them for next. That could be a run, that could be just going for a walk, that could be doing some step ups, whatever it may be. May even just be playing on the floor with the kids. But I hope that you guys find some sort of space within today and you can take that wherever you go. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will see you guys very, very soon on the next reset video. Take care, guys. Bye.